Hey, what are you guys doing here? I was just practicing my egg juggling skills. Oh, today is Easter? And it's time for our lesson? You're right, I almost forgot. Well, I'm so glad you guys remembered. But today is actually one of my all-time favorite days of the year, if not the best day of the year. Why? Today is the day we celebrate the greatest event in the history of the world. And let me just tell you guys, it actually doesn't have anything to do with these or candy or even the Easter Bunny. In fact, it has nothing to do with those at all, and it has everything to do with Jesus. But before we get into that, I want us to go ahead and stand up and sing some songs together. So why don't you guys get some wiggle room, and we'll talk about our story in just a minute, right after these songs.
1, 2, 3, Jesus is alive. 1, 2, 3, Jesus is alive. He died for you and me, but on day 3, Jesus rose again. Jesus is alive. 1, 2, 3, Jesus is alive. 1, 2, 3, Jesus is alive. He died for you and me, but on day 3, Jesus rose again. Jesus is alive. God loved the world, so He gave His Son. Jesus is our friend. He loves everyone. God loved the world, so He gave His Son. Jesus is our friend. He loves everyone. We sing 1, 2, 3. Jesus is alive. 1, 2, 3. Jesus is alive. He died for you and me, but on day 3, Jesus rose again. Jesus is alive. God loved the world, so He gave His Son. Jesus is our friend. He loves everyone. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, Jesus is alive. 1, 2, 3, Jesus is alive. He died for you and me, but on day 3, Jesus rose again. Jesus is alive. Jesus rose again. Jesus is alive. Jesus rose again. Now Jesus is alive. it sounds like. This is what it looks like. This is what it feels like when the church is alive. This is what it sounds like. This is what it looks like. This is what it feels like when the church is alive. And our hope forever is the name of Jesus. We are free, you are with us. The church is alive, the church is alive. And our hope forever is the name of Jesus. We are free and you are with us. The church is alive, the church is alive. This is what it sounds like. This is what it looks like. This is what it feels like when the church is alive. This is what it sounds like. This is what it looks like. This is what it feels like when the church is alive.
Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed those songs. But now it's time for our story. And this story is kind of a sad story. But it's also a very, very exciting and happy story. How can a story be both sad and happy? Well, let's talk about it. Today's story takes place just after our story from last week. Jesus entered Jerusalem on a donkey. Everybody was excited. They were calling him the new king, and they were saying Hosanna and all of these things. But the Bible tells us that in just a few short days, Jesus went from being exalted or praised or people waving branches to him being arrested, him going on trial, and eventually he was put to death on a cross. How sad is that? In just a short amount of time, Jesus was being celebrated, and now he was put to death in a horrible, horrible way. But that's why, but what makes this story exciting is that that's not where it ends. And the Bible tells us that even though Jesus was killed, was crucified on a cross, in just 3 days he rose again because Jesus had never sinned. Death had no hold on him. And so he defeated death, he conquered death, he beat death, and he rose again. And so that's actually what we celebrate today on Easter. It's not the bunnies, it's not the chocolate, it's not the Easter eggs. We're celebrating that Jesus, the Son of God, rose from the dead and defeated sin so that one day we get to spend eternity. We get to be with him forever. So I think that's a pretty exciting story. But don't just take my word for it. Let's go ahead and watch our lesson video for today and learn a little bit more about this story.
Hey friends, I'm Megan.
And I'm Jessie. I am so excited. Today is Easter, Megan.
Me too, Jessie.
I got an Easter basket full of candy. I can't wait to eat my chocolate-covered pickles. Then, this afternoon, I'm going to an Easter egg hunt.
That sounds so fun, Jessie. But I think you're forgetting something.
Let me think. Easter basket, check. Candy, check. Easter eggs, check. Chocolate-covered pickles, check. Yeah, I think I covered everything, Megan.
Actually, you missed the most important part.
I did?
Yes, Easter is about Jesus. We celebrate Easter because of Jesus. Jesus died on the cross to rescue people from sin, and God raised him from the dead. Jesus is alive.
Oh yeah, Jesus is better than Easter baskets and chocolate-colored pickles.
He sure is. Let's listen to the story from the Bible of how Jesus rescued the world from sin on that very first Easter. An angry crowd took Jesus away to the religious leaders. They wanted to find a reason to kill Jesus, but Jesus had done nothing wrong. They took him to Pilate, the governor. Pilate's soldiers made a crown of thorns and put it on Jesus' head. They put a purple robe around him and pretended to bow down to him. Then they led Jesus away. Jesus was nailed to a cross. They put a sign above Jesus' head that said, "This is Jesus, the King of the Jews." 2 criminals were put on crosses next to Jesus. Darkness covered the land. Jesus cried out, my God, why have you abandoned me?" Jesus died and was buried in a tomb. A large stone was rolled in front of the tomb, and Pilate's soldiers guarded the tomb so that no one would steal Jesus' body. On the 3rd day, 2 of Jesus' friends, both named Mary, went to the tomb. They were very sad. Suddenly, there was a big earthquake as an angel came down from heaven. The angel rolled away the stone and sat on it. The guards fainted. The angel spoke to the women. "Do not be afraid. Jesus is not here. He has risen from the dead, just as he said he would." The women were so happy. Jesus was alive. They left the tomb to tell Jesus' disciples the good news. Just then, Jesus greeted them. The women worshiped him. Jesus said, "Do not be afraid. Tell my brothers to go to Galilee. They will see me there." Jesus appeared to Peter and then to his other disciples. Then Jesus appeared to more than 500 people who followed him. Many people saw with their own eyes that Jesus is alive. The most important thing that ever happened is that Jesus died and was raised from the dead. We can believe that Jesus is alive. When we turn from sin and trust in Jesus, we have hope and new life. Jesus brings forgiveness and life with God forever.
How exciting is that Jesus brings us new life with God forever. And so, guys, just like we talked about last week, our memory verse for today is, if you confess Jesus is Lord and believe God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. That's what makes today so exciting, that when we confess that Jesus is the Lord and believe in our hearts that God raised him from the dead, we will be saved. All right. Well, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this special Easter message. I hope you guys get to have lots of fun today home with your families. But don't forget that today is all about Jesus. It's all about Jesus dying and then coming back to life for us so that we can be with him forever. All right. We'll see you guys next week. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Easter. He is risen. He is risen indeed.